months since I last uploaded a video, and it has been a crazy time for my family and I. We moved into our new home, which is a new construction home, and it has just been crazy, absolute crazy. So we moved out of the apartment that we've been renting back in January, and now as I'm filming this, we're in March. We've spent these last 2 months moving out of our old home, and we've also spent quite some time making IKEA hacks in this house. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the final result of the first IKEA hack that we've done in this house, the first one that we've finished. It's actually this one right behind me. Pretty early in the process, before the construction of our house even had begun, we decided to make all of the wardrobes ourselves. The wardrobes in the kids' room, the wardrobe in the hallway, the wardrobe in our bedroom, and also the bathroom furniture, probably also a bench at some point in the hallway, and a bookcase like the one we had in our old house. We haven't finished all of those projects yet, but we will during the spring, and it's gonna be amazing. It's very time consuming, but it's 100% worth it in the end. So I just think we should jump right into it. So this video shows the entire process of how we made our bedroom wardrobes using Ikea Platsa modules. And then you might be thinking, what exactly is Platsa and how does it compare to IKEA packs that are more commonly used for this kind of project? And I'm gonna tell you that. So in my opinion, Platsa comes with some clear advantages and some very clear disadvantages as well. Let's start with the advantages. So as you can see here, Platsa comes in sizes that are different from packs, and therefore they're a good alternative if the dimensions of your space doesn't fit with packs. For example, you can choose Platsa cabinets that are either 60 or 80 centimeters wide, and they also come in much smaller modules that you can stack on top of the bigger cabinets. This is technically also possible with packs, but then you'll have to buy a whole cabinet and cut it to fit your space, which is just a lot more work. We ended up choosing Platsa over packs because it would be super easy for us to stack them and use them to really take advantage of the high ceilings in our house and make a fully built-in solution. So overall, the dimensions just fit the room better. They're also cheaper than packs and easier to assemble. Another thing that I really like about Platsa is the possibility to buy drawer fronts for your drawers instead of having drawers behind some really big, tall doors like with packs. That's really nice. That's one thing I really, really like. And of course, I've chosen that as part of our solution as well. As you can see behind me, there are drawers right there. But there are also some disadvantages. They're less sturdy than packs, and the quality is definitely not as good. However, if you attach all of the cabinets to each other and to the walls, and especially if you make a fully built-in solution with Platsa cabinets like we did, you won't be able to feel this at all. The possibilities when it comes to choosing and customizing the interior of the wardrobes are also limited compared to packs. They offer shelves, drawers, and hanger bars, but that's it, unfortunately. I hope they eventually will come up with more, but for me, it's not too bad because I prefer most of my clothing on hangers or in drawers anyway. So with all of that covered, we should get into the details of how my husband Jonathan and I did this hack. You should begin by measuring your space and put the measurements into the Platsa drawing program at ikea.com. Remember to also measure the ceiling height and put that measurement in as well. We ended up combining one big 60 centimeter wide cabinet with one 80 centimeter cabinet, and on top of those we placed two cabinets that measured 60 times 40 centimeters and two 80 times 40 centimeter modules. Then you choose where you want your cabinet doors and drawers and also what kind of doors you want. We chose the ones called Zenidale. At the end, you choose the interior and accessories. We also selected knobs, and that helped us decide where we would put the ones that we ended up buying later. When all of that's done, I recommend that you take a screenshot of it and save it. This wardrobe is completely framed by pieces of MDF so that every door and drawer is aligned with the outside framing in the top, bottom, and on the sides, and that really gives it that nice built-in look. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is building a platform for your solution. We ended up with a platform that was 12 centimeters tall. The cabinets combined are 260 centimeters tall, and that left about 15 centimeters at the top for this very nice molding that we have in our entire bedroom. It's one of those details that I just really love. For the platform, you need some long wooden planks, and you need to cut these into 2 long pieces and 3 small pieces. that can support either side of the cabinets. If you're using more cabinets, you'll have to cut out more of the small pieces because in order for it to be stable, either side of each cabinet must be standing on something. So the total length on the sides of the platform should be the same as all of your cabinets put together, and the total depth of your platform should be the same as your cabinets. Assemble all of the cabinets and remember to attach the parts made for attaching the cabinet to the wall in the back. You then need to place the two tallest cabinet on your platform and put them together with clamps so that they're stable. Now you need to attach the two cabinets to each other with screws. For that purpose, we use these screws. Drill a hole all the way through both cabinet sides and attach with the screw. We placed 6 of these in the 2 biggest cabinets, one at the top, at the bottom, and in the middle, and in both the front and the back of the cabinets, like you can see here in this shot. Try to place them so that they won't become an obstacle later when you put in the drawers and other accessories. Then you have to make sure that the cabinets are aligned with the platform, and now you put in 8 screws through the cabinet bottom and down into the platform, 1 in each corner of each cabinet. Place your cabinets on top of it and check that it's level. Now you can put the cabinets together. You'll have to do this with the help of clamps, as they will ensure that the cabinets don't move. Make sure they are perfectly aligned, place the clamps as we did, and put in high quality screws. Be careful not to tighten the screws too much, as the Platsa cabinets are a bit softer than the Pax cabinets. Then you can attach the cabinets to the wall in the upper corners. Make sure everything is level and aligned. I recommend that you always check this before you move on to the next step, because it can potentially save you lots of trouble and lots of time. Then place the next 2 cabinets on top of the tall ones. Make sure they're aligned with the other cabinets and each other. Place your clamps and attach them to each other with screws. Then put in 4 screws through the bottom of the small cabinets and into the top of the big cabinets. 4 for each cabinet. Make sure they're neither too long nor too short. If you're stacking more cabinets on top, you can just repeat this and make sure to attach the small top cabinets to the walls as well. Now you've constructed the most basic parts, and it's time to move on to framing the entire thing. For this, you'll need a big piece of MDF for the side and 3 smaller ones for the side facing the wall and the top and bottom, and some small blocks of wood. You can easily cut these from the same planks that you used for the platform. Make sure the wooden blocks used on top of the cabinets are a little shorter than the gap between the cabinet and the ceiling. And for the sides, you just need to cut out some small ones. The specific size is not really important. Just make sure they can fit in between the gap between the cabinets and the wall. As you can see here, there's only a small gap between the wall and the cabinet. Since we didn't have enough space for the wooden blocks on the sides, we slid in a long piece of MDF instead and attached that to the cabinet by putting in a screw from the inside of the cabinet. We had all of our MDF pieces cut at the local hardware store, and I can't recommend this enough if you don't have the right tools for making a clean cut. It creates less mess, and it's a lot cheaper than buying an expensive circular saw. If your ceilings are tall, you'll probably have to put 2 pieces together in order for the framing to be complete. The longest piece I could find was 244 centimeters, and we needed about 40 centimeters more than that. Before you cut the pieces, you'll have to take into account the depth of the doors. The depth of the doors is 16 millimeters, so the piece for the left side has to be 16 millimeters deeper than the cabinet itself. For the right side, the top and the bottom, you just need 16 millimeter thick MDF pieces that you can attach to the platform and to the little pieces of wood at the top and at the side. Grab your clamps and attach it to the cabinet side, and as mentioned, it has to poke out 16 millimeters for it to align with the doors. Here you have to use a screw that's the right length depending on what you're putting it into, and also make sure to use good quality screws. You don't want the MDF to crack and the screws not to go all the way in. Put in screws somewhat equally spaced through the MDF and into the cabinet. Here you can choose to drill a hole for the screw first, because you really want the screw to sink a little bit into the MDF, because this will allow you to fully cover it with grout in the next step. Put screws through the bottom piece into the platform as well. I mentioned this before, but I just want to say it once again. It's a really good idea to occasionally check that the cabinet door aligns with the framing. Do the same thing with the sides and the top. And here it's important to actually hit the spot where you placed your wooden blocks earlier. And then the framing is all done. You can use grout to cover the screws, let it dry, sand it, and put on one more layer of grout. Then let it dry completely and sand again. As it dries, the grout will sink, so that's why I recommend doing it twice. This way your screws will become invisible, and that's what you want. Usually MDF is a little rough around the edges where it's been cut, so I also recommend sanding them lightly before caulking and painting. When that's totally done, caulk all the small gaps between the MDF and the cabinets, and I'd recommend using acrylic caulk that can be painted afterwards. Sometimes that will also sink a little bit into the holes, and then you can just do it once again, wait for that to cure, and then you can paint. As you can see, we have these super beautiful moldings going all around the room in the ceiling, and now that the wardrobes are finally up, we can put up the rest. Letting the moldings go all the way around the wardrobes makes the wardrobes look even more built in, and I absolutely just love that look. And then it's time for one of the more interesting parts, at least in my opinion. Put up masking tape where it's necessary. Use a quality primer to prime the whole thing. I actually already painted all of the doors months before we made this wardrobe in our bedroom, so they would be good to go as soon as we finished. The cabinet frame is now ready for paint. I used a medium glossy warm white tone for the frame and for the doors. Painting IKEA cabinet doors and furniture really does make a big difference, especially if you choose glossy or medium glossy paint, because it'll make the cabinet stand out in the room, and touching it also feels very nice and smooth. It's also really easy to clean, as dust and other particles are easily wiped off smooth surfaces. After 2 layers of paint, I pulled off the masking tape and revealed the result. At this time of an IKEA hack, I'm usually pretty excited because that means that we're very close to being finished, and that also means that it's time for all the fun decorative details like the cabinet doors. The best part is, of course, attaching the cabinet doors and drawers. Jonathan did the doors, but first I put in the drawers.
Once felt I'm done with the defense, drove back and climbed over your fence, had to show.
And I just want to say very quickly, in order for these doors to be in the right position when closed, you need to put in a shelf on the other side. And remember to attach these ones to make sure the doors close more softly. When all of the doors are attached, you'll probably need to adjust them so that they're all level and equally spaced. Then Jonathan attached a knob to every door. I got some 12mm brass knobs for almost every cabinet door in our home, and that ended up being a perfect fit. I also considered getting some small black round knobs, and I think that would have looked pretty cool, but we have a lot of brass details and fixtures in the house, so I figured I'd better go with more brass. These knobs are completely natural, so they're not coated with anything, which means they'll gain some patina over time. If you, however, want yours to stay shiny and clear, you'll have to choose knobs that have a coating of some sort on the outside. At the base of the wardrobes, we chose to put up some very small baseboards. They're 4.5 centimeters tall and just about 2.5 centimeters wide, so they are very small, but they're definitely a beautiful contribution to the wardrobes. At last, I just needed to caulk the baseboards and moldings, and after it had cured, I applied 2 coats of paint. The moldings were especially hard to paint, and it took forever, but I did it and it's done. This is probably the best wardrobe hack that we've done so far. We did a couple in our last home. I'm super thrilled about the final result, and I think we did a real good job. We also did a similar hack in our hallway, and I'll upload that video in here as well as soon as it's ready, which it should be very soon. We're actually all done with our IKEA hack bathroom furniture, and that video will also be up very soon. I really hope you liked this video and found it useful and inspiring. And if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more interior content. And I'll have a video for you again very soon.